Over here? Yeah?
So welcome to the very famous arena. What sort of sport arena?
The carry, what's it called? The horse?
So it's called Hippodrome. Hippo, okay, hippo in Latin is horse, hippodrome, okay, and this is, as you say, this is not for horse racing, this is for chariot racing, okay, chariot racing, and normally when you're going to watch a sport event, where do you want to sit? If you want to watch baseball, football, basketball, soccer, you want to be 50-yard line, you want to be in the court center, but the hippodrome, you are actually sitting in the best place. Okay, you're sitting in the curve. We have to understand, chariots at the time did not have the differential system. That means that when they arrive really fast, okay, there is a chance they're going to be flipped over. So if you're going to be, if you're lucky, you're going to see it, okay, as they flip over. And more than that, if you're extremely lucky, the guy behind won't slow down, and then you got a nice splash of blood on your tonic. Okay, now the rest of the time is really boring. So there will be all sort of other entertainment. There will be naked women dancing in the middle. There will be all sort of shows and a thing that will entertain you. This is part of the Roman idea of fun. And you understand that this is not very fun for Jews and Christians, right? This is not the kind of sports that Jews and Christians would admire, blood and violence. More than that, there was a time that it was not violent enough for the Christian, for the pagan, for the Romans. So what do? They transformed the hippodrome to be an amphitheater. What is an amphitheater? Theater we've just been. Theater is half a circle. Amphi in Latin is two. Two half a circle give us a circle. The amphitheater is an arena of war, of battles, where gladiator fights. Unlike a theater that you have a script, so the actors can stand always facing the crowd, in the amphitheater there is no script. So the people will fight each other. And who will be the people that are fighting? Well, to the amphitheater in Caesarea, we know for sure, many of the gladiators will be either Jews or Christian, that will be pitted against each other and against wild beasts over here for the entertainment of the masses of people. And this is Caesarea. This is a horrible place and a horrible city. But in this horrible city, there are some other people that were different. So we're reading Acts 10 again. At Caesarea, there was a man named Cornelius, a centurion in what was known as the Italian regiment. Okay, so he was a Roman officer. He and his family were devoted and God-fearing. He gave generously to those in need and prayed to God regularly. One day, at about 3 in the afternoon, he had a vision. He distinctly saw an angel of God who came to him and said, Cornelius. Cornelius stared at him in fear. Of course, fear. It's very, very frightening to be in the presence of God or an angel of God. What is it, Lord? He asked. The angel answered, your prayer and gifts to the poor, they came up as a memorial offering before God. Now send men to Joppa to bring back a man named Simon, who is called Peter. He is staying with Simon the tanner, whose house is by the sea. Okay, so remember yesterday we were sharing Peter's story, and he said, while Peter was wondering about the meaning of the vision, the man sent by Cornelius found out where Simon's house was and stopped at the gate. And they convinced him to leave Joppa. He's wondering, he had a vision. It's there, but he cannot see it yet. And he decided to join the people. And he arrived here, and he's talking to Cornelius. And a little bit later, talking with him, Peter went inside and found a large gathering of people. He said to them, "You are well aware that it is against our law of a Jew to associate with a Gentile or visit him. But God has shown me that I should not call any man impure or unclean." So Peter started to see the picture. "So when I was sent for, I came without raising any objection. May I ask why you sent for me?" So Cornelius shared a story about the angel that appeared before him. Then Peter began to speak. "I now realize how true it is that God does not show favoritism, but accept men from every nation who fear, remember the four corners of the earth? Every nation who fear him and do what is right. You know the message God sent to the people of Israel, telling the good news of peace through Yeshua the Messiah, who is the Lord of all. You know what has happened throughout Judea, beginning in Galilee, after the baptism that John preached, how God anointed Yeshua of Nazareth with the Holy Spirit and power, and how he went around doing good and healing all who were under the power of the devil, because God was with him. We are witness of everything he did in the country of the Jews and in Jerusalem. They killed him by hanging him on a tree, but God raised him from the dead on the third day and caused him to be seen. He was not seen by all people, but a witness whom God has already chosen, by us who ate and drank with him after he rose from the dead. He commanded us to preach to the people and testify that he is the one whom God appointed as a judge of the living and the dead." Okay, so we understand this is Peter's testimony about the mission. Okay, and now is the really amazing part. While Peter was still speaking these words, the Holy Spirit came on all who heard this message. The circumcised believer who had come with Peter was astonished that the gift of the Holy Spirit had been poured out even on the Gentiles, for they heard them speaking in tongues and praising God. Like what happened in Pentecost happened here again. This is what we call the mini Pentecost in Caesarea. Then Peter said, "Can anyone keep these people from being baptized with water? They have received the Holy Spirit just as we have. So we ordered that they be baptized in the name of Yeshua the Messiah." Then they asked Peter to stay with them for a few days. So we see over here Caesarea and Joppa. This is where Peter finally understands that Christianity is for all. We that read it with our own eyes, we understand it from the beginning. But for the disciples that follow Yeshua, they were Jews, and there was no understanding and no idea that it can be spread out of this small community of Judaism. Okay, and we'll talk about the signs that were there all the time, but it takes them a time. It takes Peter a time to see the entire picture, and like to validate it, the Holy Spirit over here touched the Gentile as well, and Peter finally understand, and he stay here with them in Caesarea, which is very, very dangerous. It is punishable by death. He just say, what happened to Yeshua? What happened to his master? He was hanged from the tree for those ideas. Okay, that was in Jerusalem, that was way more tolerant to those ideas. Now here in Caesarea, this is very dangerous. But he will stay here and he will teach them. And Caesarea will be the place where the first fathers of the church will be operating from. Why? Because if this is the World Trade Center, you can send messenger that will carry the word to the entire known world at the time. So we'll have many, many messengers that will carry on the gospel to many different places in the world from Caesarea. Okay, Caesarea was the center from which Christianity was spread to the rest of the world. Okay, so we'll have both. If you want to go to Rome, you can go to Rome, to Alexandria, to any other parts of the known world. They all come here and they all live from here. Okay, so this is the important in Caesarea. And over here in the Sharon, in the very dangerous place with mosquitoes and flies, and dangerous people and pagans and a culture that is completely not fit, maybe, for believing in God. This is where the idea of the lily of the Sharon will be spread to the people in this dangerous place. Okay? So we'll finish our tour in Caesarea over here in the Hippodrome. This is not where Cornelius' house used to be. We don't know exactly where Cornelius' house used to be. As I told you, only 5% of the entire city has been excavated. The rest of the city is over there been excavated. This is 5% included, but most of the city is just somewhere over here. So we don't know where exactly was Cornelius' house, but I like to explain it over here as we see the difference between the good of the people and the worst part of the people in this place, encouraging and calling for violence and for blood. So we can see both one next to the other. Okay? Questions or anything that you want to add? Okay, so